I want you to meet the champions of a delightful import to Canada. Nicky and Sila Lee first came to us from Holy Trinity, Brompton. It's where they came from today, too. London, England. Isn't that wonderful? Look, I even brought my double-decker bus today. I got so excited about having them fresh off the plane. Well, this is a church that many of us have heard of. I think Alpha put Holy Trinity, Brompton on the map. And guess what? They've gone viral. They've gone global. Boy, I was just reading about Alpha in the workplace, Alpha in the pub, Youth Alpha, and that's probably just a few of many of what Nicky Gumbel put on the map. But folks, you were inspired by that model and have done something that, well, actually your marriage book is a bestseller. Married how long?
We've been married for 35 years.
And children?
We have four children, a daughter who's the eldest, and then 3 sons.
Shall we show a picture? They might be a little bit older than this shot.
Oh no, that's good.
Is this pretty current?
Well, that was about actually 3 years ago. And our daughter and her husband, who are on the not quite left, the one with the long hair second from the left, and the one behind her on the right, had just come back from Canada. They'd spent a year and a half in British Columbia.
Oh, lovely. Well, no, some of those are responsible for your 3 grandchildren.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is meaningful because you came to Holy Trinity, which you call HTB, and we may continue to call it HTB, in '85.
Yeah.
And it was to lead Alpha, wasn't it?
We started off running Alpha, leading Alpha there, and we did that for 5 years, and then we handed it on to Nicky Gumbel. And then our concentration has really been, over the last, well, 20 years now, developing these family life courses for the relationship central courses, as we call them.
What could be more needed, more timely? You know, we're going to talk about these courses in a minute, but I'm a saver. And this was just an unforgettable moment in world history, specifically your history in London, with the riots in the summer. I don't know if I had ever heard the term recreational rioting before. I think it was birthed last summer. This is your neighborhood. This is, I'm sure it was a terrible
It was deeply shocking, deeply shocking for what was happening. But it's the outcome of many of the underlying social issues that we're facing in our society. And one of the things that it's done has brought to the fore the need for massive investment in family life, in parenting, in helping to keep parents together, mothers and fathers together. This is such a huge need in our society today. And this is just one symptom that we saw of it erupting on our streets.
Sila, were you impressed that your Prime Minister made this very declaration on the heels of these riots?
We were, and we are very encouraged that our government really is, and actually I'd say politicians across the spectrum really now know the research is unequivocal. This is at the heart of many of our social problems today, the family and the breakdown of family. And I think at last we're seeing with our Prime Minister standing up and saying, yes, we want to make a difference, to get to the grassroots of why this has happened and start to be proactive to make a difference and to change it.
Now, this was on your heart 2 decades ago.
Yes.
How did God call you to this wonderful movement, really?
Well, we saw the issues, the breakdown of family life, and in our minds that the answer to it has to be the local church reaching out to support parents, to support marriages, support family life in the community all around. Because it's Christians who feel this deeply. And actually, one of the things we've hoped to do is to help to resource local churches to be able to reach out to help families.
In very practical ways. And we simply started in our own church by doing what was needed, which was preparation for engaged couples. Very practical preparation for them. Then moving on to the marriage course. And then in 1990, when our children were about 10 and under, we just had loads of families wanting something practical to help them with their parenting, and that's how it started.
4,500 couples, at least, have gone through either the marriage preparation course, which is 5 weeks, or the marriage course, which is 8 weeks. It's now being run in over 2,300 locations in 60 countries. Could you ever have imagined?
From there.
I'll bet it has.
I'm sorry,
Well, no,
that's
tell
out of
us.
date. Okay, it's in over 90 countries, and it's been translated into over 40 languages, and I think it's in excess of 4,000 courses around the world. So.
Did you have challenges in your marriage? Or was it just so wonderful that you had to write about it?
One of the things we wanted to say is it is never perfect.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of things that we've had to work at. And I suppose one of the messages about marriage we want to get out there is you always have to keep working at it, to invest, to making time just to be together. That's a challenge in our busy lives today. It's a challenge in London with busy London life. But we know the difference that it makes when we do that.
And we need to be reminded all the time. I mean, it's really great for us because we
You're
run
working
the course.
together, yeah.
Well, we work together, but we also run the course in our local church, in HTB, 3 times a year. So we're being reminded all the time about our communication, about are we resolving our issues? We're very different. Are we, all these things that we talk about. So it helps us a lot.
Nicky is an ordained Anglican pastor.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Just a little extra pressure there, just making that note. I don't know if your stats are the same. We're told that parents here in the West, in North America, spend 6.5 hours a week with their children, 19 minutes daily on average for working parents. We are now wanting to encourage parents to take a course that's going to involve 5 or 10 weeks of their time. How does that work?
I think one of the issues that we see with parents is parents are more isolated today than they ever have been in human history, partially because the wider family has broken up. People don't live as close to their parents-in-law as they once did. Working parents have less time to be with other parents and families. And most of us learn about our parenting through asking questions, getting advice from others, those who've been there before us, and from watching how others do it. And it's that isolation, I think, for parents that makes family life more difficult today.
And these courses give parents the opportunity to get together with other parents. And I think the major benefit from doing a course like this is sitting in a group with other parents, going through and facing the same challenges, the same issues. And suddenly people feel, oh, I'm not the only one. And they're having to face these things too. And then have some practical tools to deal with it.
The book gets rave reviews for being relevant and practical, where the rubber hits the road. But I love too that the evenings are modeled after the Alpha course, which has some pretty enticing, winsome components. Tell us how an evening works.
Well, it is very simple. It's really a meal and then a talk, an input of some sort, and then discussion. But the meal is really important because we recognise that people are nervous about kind of coming on a course like this. So we want to make it as welcoming, as relaxed, as unthreatening as possible.
We've heard that even your brain chemistry changes when you sit down over food.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
just relax and open.
And people feel safe and they open up, and then it's like they can really start to talk about the real issues. And it really makes a difference the moment they walk in the door, if that's the atmosphere. So that ingredient is a vital component to the courses.
Finding you're not the only one having that particular struggle
Yeah.
in your marriage or in your parenting in this case. And you don't have to be a Christian.
No.
That's the other similarity to the Alpha course that many are familiar with. You in fact just had, I think, a 2-page article in your paper
Yeah, in the London Times.
from an interesting visitor to the program.
We didn't know that we had a journalist on our marriage course that we ran in the summer. And it was only when at the end of about the 5th session, he said, "This has been such a help. Can I write an article?" And we thought, goodness, who is this? And he turned out to be a journalist with the London Times. And the article came out just last week. And it was an amazing report on his experience. He's an atheist. He declares that up front. But he talks about what a lot he and his wife got out of doing the course together.
I loved his last quote. He said it's like we've started a journey together after the 7 evenings of the course. He said it's like we've started a journey together, not finished a course. Wow. I thought that was fantastic.
So far from being turned off by anything overtly spiritual,
yeah,
they bought in. Yeah. They're coming back.
Yeah. This is
wonderful.
And actually, it's one reason why we're so keen for lots and lots of churches to be doing courses like this, because then when they read a story like this, people in the paper read a story like that, then they can find a course somewhere near them in the UK.
Now you're here to train leaders who will do this course, and you have major training sessions at HTB for people from all over the world. How much of this are we going to be seeing in Canada? It's a big country. We have a lot of families that need this kind of help.
I think that the key thing to say is these courses are really easy to run and they do not require a lot of training. And our passion is to see ordinary couples like us, and we really are ordinary. We're not trained counsellors or anything. And we've met with lots of fabulous people in Canada over the last week who are normal, regular people involved in church communities who can run these courses. And they are very easy to run. It's all on the DVD. All you need to do is provide the right atmosphere, put the DVD in, we do the work, but then the real bit is the discussion. The DVD just prompts the discussion. It's putting a little bit of input, but then it opens up. And people can do it in their homes, they can do it in a coffee shop. This would be a really nice environment to do the parenting course in. Yeah.
You've got some great experts that pop up and have words to say. I mean, lots of ordinary people, but some great content.
Yeah. We did it, we sort of intersperse the talks with sofa families, as we call them, which is both parents, some of them parenting together, some parenting on their own, step-parents, parents of adopted children, and the children themselves speaking. The children steal the show, for honest. And then on the parenting teenagers speaking, and as you say, experts as well, who are talking about different topics. So it's quite fast-moving, the talks.